All right, so let's get started. Appreciate you guys tuning in. And today we're going to talk about how to hack Google AdWords for your startup. A little bit about myself. I was previously on the AdWords team at Google. I co-founded a team on the AdWords team called the Accelerated Growth Team. We worked with high growth startups to help them scale their digital advertising. So we worked with companies that were spending, a couple $1,000s per day and help them scale and optimize their accounts so that they could grow into $10, $20, $30,000 a day. Currently, I'm the co-founder and CEO at Adhawk. Adhawk is the easiest way to manage your digital advertising. We built a dashboard that allows you to quickly and easily see your Facebook, Instagram, and Google ads. And then we actually built a machine learning algorithm that goes through your data and provides recommendations on how to optimize and improve it. If you have any questions throughout this whole presentation, feel free to tweet out at Adhawk or at Todd Saunders. We really do try to answer all questions during the webinar, or even when you're stuck in just an AdWords account or a Facebook ads account. Just tweet out at Adhawk. We're always open to answering questions. We know it's a really difficult space, and we take the tweets really seriously. So let's get started here. First, I want to talk about what this presentation is going to cover. The first portion of it's going to be just the basic stuff. We're going to talk about basic things that make accounts successful, something that accounts all have in common, all different types of account has these types of things in common. Then we're going to talk about the new sales funnel. It's a sales funnel that we believe is really important for startups and is much different than the sales funnel for a really, big established company. Then we're going to go into some campaign types and best practices, and then we'll talk about some things to remember, and we'll finish off with any questions or going over some other resources. So the first thing I want to talk about is location settings in AdWords. You can get really, really broad with your location settings. You can also get really granular. So you can go from targeting a country all the way to targeting a neighborhood. One of my favorite ways to target is using radius targeting. So you can say, I want to target Toronto, or I want to target New York City, and I want to target a 5-mile radius or a 10-mile radius around it. It's a really good way if you're a local business or if you're a services business and you only want, people in your localish area. I would suggest doing radius targeting. It's really an easy way to capture everyone around you. Now, another type of targeting that I really like is income level targeting. And this is a little unknown feature within AdWords. You can actually target people based on their household income tiers. And you can actually do that in the advanced settings inside of your location settings on any of your campaigns. So you can say, I want to target the top 10% of household income tiers within the United States. Or maybe you want to target the lower 50% of household income tiers. Really, that's totally up to you and who your customer is. But it's a really easy way to target people based on if they like luxury goods or maybe if they like a little cheaper stuff. So I'd highly suggest playing with income level targeting. It is definitely one of those hidden things within AdWords that's really easy to miss. So the last couple ways you can target based on locations are central commercial areas, universities, and airports. So let's say you're a locksmith or you're a health services company or an IT company. You might want to target central commercial areas. So, let's say you're targeting New York and New Jersey, but you want to target specific areas within them that have a lot of businesses. What would be much easier for you to target central commercial areas rather than trying to target and find every single city and then plug that in as you go. Central commercial areas kind of does all of that for you. The next thing is universities. So if you sell books or you do something with housing or social networks, or if you're an e-commerce company looking to target students or people that surround a college, you might want to target universities. So you can say, I want to target all universities within the United States or all universities within Wisconsin. You can really decide what the location boundary is right here, and then you can pick universities, central commercial areas, and finally, airports. So if you're maybe a taxi service, or if you're a Lyft or Uber, or you're a hotel service or a restaurant, and you want to target people who are at airports, you can just select this drop down, select airports, and pick within whatever region you want to show your ads in. So these are some hidden things. Now, this is pretty basic stuff, and this is what every single campaign has within AdWords. However, a lot of people don't know that you can do income level targeting, central commercial areas, universities, and airports. Definitely, again, one of those nice hidden features that AdWords provides. So the next thing I want to talk about is ad schedule. When you create campaigns, your ads are automatically shown 24/7. Now, at Adhawk, we use a lot of day parting. We think that there's a lot of unnecessary clicks during certain hours, and you can use the ad schedule to do some day parting. So let's say you are a restaurant. Well, you may want to show your ads only during, 9 a.m. to noon, and then from 4 p.m. to 7 p.m. because those are really the hours where you get a lot of traffic. A lot of times what we see is people have their ads set up like this, where they're showing 24/7, and they'll get a lot of unnecessary clicks at 2, 3, 4, 5 in the morning. So I would suggest starting with a reasonable range, something that you feel comfortable with, something even a little bit bigger. So if you're only open from 9 to 7, maybe show from 8 to 8, and show your ads during that window, and then start optimizing from there. You can also make bid adjustments to certain times. So you can say, okay, I want to show all of my ads. I want to show my ads 24/7. However, during the hours of 7 a.m. to 9 a.m., I want to show up higher on the page because that's really important to me. So I'll spend 25% more maybe in the morning, or I'll spend 25% less during lunch hours. So ad schedule, although it is really basic and it is something really simple, it can be turned into something really powerful. So make sure you don't overlook this. Again, it's okay if you want to start showing your ads 24/7, but I would definitely look after a couple of weeks of data if you're spending a lot of money at unnecessary hours, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 in the morning. It's a really easy way to trim the fat and save a little bit of money. So the last thing I want to talk about that every single campaign has is devices. So you can make device bid adjustments. So if you want to show higher on mobile devices because you really want phone calls, or if you don't want to show at mobile devices at all, you really need to look at the device settings. So currently, the only way to get your ads to stop showing on mobile devices is to do a negative 100% bid adjustment. There is no other way to get your ads off of mobile. You actually have to go to settings, click devices, click the little hash mark next to mobile devices, and bring it to a negative 100% bid adjustment. This is telling the computer, based on your bids, you want to spend 100% less per click on mobile devices. Now, you can actually do the opposite as well. You can increase it by 300%. So let's say you do a lot of business over the phone. That's how you get a lot of your leads. You can bid $5, but then say, if anyone's searching on their mobile phones, I want to spend 300% more because I really want to show up number one when they search on the phone, because I want them to give me a call right away. And as you can see, there's a little click to call button here, and we'll get into that. Now, something exciting that Google just announced is you can soon do tablet bid adjustments. Right now, tablets and computers are kind of lumped together, and the only thing you can make an adjustment on is actually mobile devices. But in the next couple of months, you can actually make adjustments to tablets. So that's some of the basic stuff that I wanted to go over. Every campaign has these things, and a lot of times they're overlooked because they're so simple, but really there are hidden gems within even just the basic settings. Again, I think the biggest thing you can take out of all of this is there are so many settings within AdWords, and there's so much that you can do. And even the simplest things, it's really easy to overlook. Honestly, one of the biggest adjustments that our algorithm looks at when we're optimizing our clients' accounts is devices. A lot of times, certain customers just spend 90% of their budget on mobile devices, or they're spending, their cost per click is 7, 8 times higher on computers than mobile devices, and it can really throw off all the data. So make sure you're checking in on all these settings. It will really help you trim the fat and lower your CPAs. So now I want to talk about the sales funnel for startups. We like to call it a beer funnel. I think it's more accurate in terms of what a startup actually goes for, and it's just more fun. I'm not going to throw a triangle up here of the classic sales funnel because that's not fun at all. So as you guys know, at a startup, you have one main issue, and it's that people don't necessarily know who you are. So the first thing you have to do is you have to make them aware. So you have to make them aware of who you are, what you do, and what you offer. So we're going to talk about how to use display ads and Gmail ads in order to make people aware is the first thing. Then you have to bring them back. You know, if they're searching for you and you do apartment rentals, and you type in apartment rentals and they click on you and they say, okay, that's really interesting. And then they leave and then go back to, Street Easy or Craigslist that they're more comfortable with. Well, you need a way to bring them back. And that's applicable to any business of any startup. So we're going to talk about ways to bring them back with different remarketing tactics. And then lastly, after you bring them back, how do you seal the deal? How do you make it so that they come back and they're ready to pay for your product or service? And with that, we'll talk about some branded and general search campaigns and some Google shopping. Again, feel free to ask any questions in the chat or tweet at us. We want to make this as interactive as possible. So let's start with make them aware. So the first thing, the easiest way to make them aware, I guess, is display ads. If you're not aware of what display ads are image and text ads on the Google Display Network. Now, the Google Display Network covers about 2 million websites and reaches over 90% of the internet. It's really not meant much to drive conversions, but more so to get people to know who you are. If they're on a blog or a website related to your topic, have them understand kind of, they'll see your image on the side and they'll say, oh, that's really interesting and that's related to what I'm reading. Let me click on this and learn more about it. It can be on websites like CNN all the way to a mom and pop blog or even a baseball blog. You can also have ads inside of a Gmail account or inside of mobile apps. The nice thing about display ads is they're generally less expensive than search campaigns. And it helps you find users that aren't actively searching for your product or service. So if you have a product or service that is, people don't really search for, or it's kind of a new trend or something new that people just aren't aware of, well, this is a really good way to get in front of an audience. So I'm going to go over different ways to target here, but I first want to talk about best practices generally when you're running display ads. The first thing is demographic bid adjustments. Demographic bid adjustments are really important with display campaigns. On display campaigns, it's the only way that you can bid higher or lower on your users' genders, their age, or their parental status. So if you sell dresses for women, well, you want to increase your bid on women and decrease it on men. Or you might even want to eliminate men. So you can actually exclude genders, include genders, bid down, bid up on genders, ages, and parental statuses. You can only do this on the display network. You can't do this on the search network at all. So definitely take advantage of this. Now, the next thing, and this is definitely one of the hidden secrets within display ads, make sure you exclude mobile apps. Unless you're trying to get mobile app installs, you really need to make sure you exclude mobile apps. If any of you guys have played games, maybe even the Pokemon game that just came out, you'll know that there's ads that come up on the bottom that kind of just show up there. And you don't want your ads doing that. They're very low converting. You're going to pay a lot for them and generally just waste budget. So in order to exclude mobile apps, you actually have to exclude the placement AdSense for mobileapps.com. It's the only way to exclude mobile apps. And it's something that many people don't know. I'm not sure why it's so hidden. But again, in order to exclude mobile apps, you need to exclude the placement AdSense for mobileapps.com. Now, the last two things that I want to look at that are, again, important best practices when running display ads. The first one is excluding placements. So your ad's going to show up on all different websites, again, from CNN to mom and pop blogs based on your targeting. Well, you can actually go through a placement report to see what websites you're actually showing up on. And that's on the display network tab and then the details button and then placements. Again, what this will allow you to do is just see the list of websites you're actually showing up on. And then you can check box a bunch of the websites and hit add as a negative placement so that you don't have to show up on those websites anymore. And I'm going to go through that a little bit further in the next slide, but just wanted to give you kind of a higher level overview of excluding placements. So this is how you can target on the display network. And So with display campaigns, you can target 5 different ways. You can target based on interests, in market, topics, keywords, or placements. Now, interest and in market target people, whereas topics, keywords, and placements target websites. And I'm going to explain this a little bit further. And if you want to target someone that is interested, and we'll take the banking or financial services example, someone that's interested in banking or financial services, then you want to run a display campaign using interest targeting, and Google has a long list of interest targeting. You can pick financial services in there. I'm pretty sure it's a category. Now, the second way to target people, and this is a little bit more expensive because there's a little bit more intent here, is targeting people that are in market for something. So in market for a specific service, or in market for a specific advertising platform. Google looks at a lot of clues here in terms of that the person is a little bit more ready to buy, rather than in interest targeting. It's just someone that's generally interested in a product. Now, again, these are 2 different approaches that you might want to try. One campaign one way, one campaign another way. But interest and in market target people. Now, the next 3 are ways that you target people based on websites. So you can say, I want to show on financial service websites, but they have to mention the keyword Bitcoin. So that's something that we use a lot, is layering keywords on top of topics. And lastly, I want to talk about placements. And this is really one of my favorite things to do in all of display. I'll probably say that a lot. I think AdWords in general is my favorite thing in the world, but placements in general is one of the better things that I like to use. So how we use placements, generally when you use placements, you pick specific websites that you want to show your ads on. So if you know specific websites where you say, okay, I know I want my ad on this blog, or I know I want my ad on CNN or this baseball blog, you can just pick 5, 10, 15, 20 websites that you specifically want to show your ads on. But something that we really like to do, and something that we find really effective, is if you run a really good interest campaign, and maybe a really good in-market campaign, and a really good keyword plus topic campaign, I would run them in different campaigns to control budget, right? Because budget is on the campaign level. And then I mentioned before this placements report. You can use this placements report when running these campaigns to say, okay, I'm running these campaigns. Which websites am I showing up on that are converting really well? Oh, look, this website converts really well. I've never heard of this one, but I have 20 conversions on there. And this website. So you can use these 4 types of campaigns as like a market strategy to figure out, where are my users? Where do they convert? What websites do they like to go on? And then once you figure that out after like a month, I would run a placements campaign targeting those specific websites. And the reason I would do it this way is because I understand you know your customer really well, but you need to understand your customer on AdWords, and you need to understand your customer online. You may think you know what websites they like to go to or where they like to browse, but using these 4 strategies is the easiest way to do market research, and then pull the placements that you found and just target those placements. So that's like one of the tricks that we really like to use. Now, just last thing to keep in mind, if you use all of these strategies on top of each other, it makes it more specific. I see a common mistake where they add keywords on top of placements, on top of interests. And that's really great. Just know that your audience is getting smaller and smaller and smaller, not bigger and bigger. So make sure in each ad group, you overlay just what you mean to overlay. And the more you end up overlaying these audiences, the more expensive your clicks become, because the audience is smaller and more likely to actually purchase. So some other things to remember about Gmail ads are, first thing, there's a whole bunch of different sizes that your image ads can be. So I listed right here some of the best performing image ad sizes according to Google. So I would recommend making multiple image ads for all of your campaigns. The reason for that is some websites only allow 250s by 239s. Well, some websites allow 336 by 269s. So if you really want to cover all of your bases, and you really want to make sure that you're covering all of your possibilities, I would make sure you just create all of these images. One quick note on that, there's a lot of really good resources out there to create image ads. Google's image ad builder really isn't one of them. It's a little bit older of a feature within AdWords. I would suggest if you are looking for image ads, there's a lot of good websites out there where you can get this done, whether you want to contract it or hire someone. Would consider just looking on Upwork or one of those sites to get help with that rather than using Google's image ad builder. Next, I mentioned mobile devices and bid adjustments on mobile devices. We see a lot of the time our customers spend a lot of display dollars on mobile, and we think that there's a lot of accidental clicks on mobile devices, especially with image ads on the side of a blog. So we really pay attention to where our ads are being shown, whether it's mobile or desktop. And lastly, like I said before, each type of targeting we like to use into different campaigns. The reason for that is we can control budget. So we'll create an in-market campaign, a topics campaign, and a placements campaign, right? And we'll run the in-market and topics campaigns first. We'll run those for 30 days so that we can control budgets on each of them to make sure that each get a certain amount of money towards it. And then once we find the 10, 20 websites that work really, really well, we'll pause those campaigns, pull the 20 placements out, and then create a placements campaign only targeting the websites that have proven successful for us. So another way to make them aware is Gmail ads. And if you're going to take one thing from this whole presentation, please make sure it is Gmail ads. So if you're sort of paying attention now, I would pay full attention to at least this slide. So Gmail ads are brand new. They launched out of beta, I think 4 or 5 months ago, which means not everyone's using them. Your competition probably isn't using them. And because there's less competition, clicks are less expensive. Now, we really believe this is the easiest and most efficient way to target your competitors and complementary services. So let me talk about how it works and kind of what the ads look like. So the first one that I just want to show you first, I guess, how it looks. So inside of Gmail in the promotions tab, you're going to see something like this. And when you actually click on that, it opens up to an expanded image ad. So you kind of get 2 ads. You get a text ad, and then when the user clicks on the text ad, opens a big image ad. And then they click on that image and go to your site. There's no other way to do this outside of setting up Gmail ads within AdWords. There's no other way to target users like this. So it really is one of those niche products that Google launched that I would highly recommend taking advantage of today. So the way targeting works is you create a display campaign like you normally would, and you target the placement, mail.google.com. That's the first thing you do. Then the second thing you do is you head over to the keywords tab and you target based on keywords. But there's 2 different ways to target keywords. And here are the 2 different ways. So let's say I sell diapers, and I want to find other people that are interested in my diaper product. Well, first thing you can do is you can target diapers.com, or in your case, any of your competitors. So any of your competitors that are sending emails to customers. So let's say I want to target everyone getting emails from diapers.com. I would make a keyword diapers.com. Another good example might be, let's use Adhawk, for example. Well, we want to target everyone getting emails from AdWords, Facebook ads, from Twitter ads, maybe from HubSpot. So we'll target people getting emails from HubSpot.com or AdWords.google.com or that type of stuff. So you can target based on who people are getting emails from or what they're saying in their email. Now, if you want to target based on what they're saying in their email, you just get rid of the .com. So you just use keywords like you normally would. So you could use diapers, or in our case, we would use AdWords or Facebook ads or digital advertising. So I hope that makes sense. Again, you can target customers based on who they're getting emails from by using the .coms, or what they're saying in their email by just using regular keywords. The reason we like to use this for competitors is because if you were to go bid on your competitor on the search network, your quality score will be low and it'll cost you 3, 4, 5x, maybe even 10x what your competitor's paying, and it's just not worth it. However, for a much cheaper cost, you can target an audience getting emails from your competitors. I mean, that's a really targeted method, and it's even cheaper than actually targeting competitors on the search network. So I would highly recommend Gmail ads. If you guys have any questions on Gmail ads, feel free again to put it in the chat or reach out to us. We love helping people set them up and answering questions about them, because it really is one of the better, newer products out there. Now, some best practices when it comes to Gmail ads. The first one is knowing the difference between clicks and clicks to website. So as you know, in the AdWords dashboard, there's just very common columns, right? You have clicks, impressions, click-through rate, all of that great stuff. Well, when it comes to Gmail ads, make sure you add the column clicks to website. The reason for that is Google counts a click when they click on your text link and then actually just expand your image ad, like I said before. Now, it doesn't count when it clicks on your image ad and actually takes you to the website, which is what your analytics is tracking and is what you actually care about. So make sure you add clicks to website. It can be very deceiving if you look at clicks with Gmail ads. Make sure you're looking at clicks to website with Gmail ads, or else you'll see a big discrepancy in your data and your AdWords data. Like I said before, target competitors and similar products. If you an example of similar products is if you do, maybe you're Uber and you want to target people getting emails from taxis or car services, but also that your customer also is part of the Airbnb community, or generally they get subscription boxes. Well, maybe you want to target similar products like Airbnb or like Trunk Club or any of those types of guys. So really, Gmail ads is great for competitors or similar products kind of in the industry or that your customers might be interested in. Now, there's a couple of different image ad templates that you can use with Gmail ads. The one thing I would recommend is, because you go from a text ad to an image ad, this whole image ad is clickable, right? So anywhere they click on this image ad, they'll go to your website. But as you can see by this very small image here, is that they have a little call to action button, or we can pretend that says, order now or shop more. Now, that's just to get the user to click. Again, this whole image is clickable, but I always suggest in your image to add a little button that looks clickable, that is like, a really good call to action. So the user clicks right there and gets taken to your website. Now, the last thing that you're able to do, and this is something if you have an engineer or coding resources available, I would recommend, and that's creating a custom HTML form inside of your ad. So if you want newsletter signups or just generally you want to collect emails, you can actually embed a form right into this image ad and have people sign up right here. So that cuts some of the friction out, right? They don't have to go from here to your website. They can actually stay right here and just fill out their email and submit it. So if that is something you're looking for and you're looking to collect emails, whether it's for your newsletter or your product or your service, I would recommend taking a couple of minutes, creating an HTML form in here and uploading that. It really does cut roughly 33% of the friction out of the process. So next thing we're going to talk about is how to bring them back. So we talked about, display ads and Gmail ads and how to get those top of the funnel awareness. Now that they've hit your site, some of them have converted, some of them have bought your product, some of them have bought your service, but there's a large portion of people that, bounced off your website and said, that's interesting, I'll come back to it at some point. So how do we bring these people back? So the first way to bring them back is remarketing. I'm sure a lot of you are familiar with what remarketing is, but just a quick overview. It's when you show your ads to users that visited your site, but did not actually convert, buy your product, use your service, or do whatever desired action you're looking for. If you guys have ever shopped on Amazon, I know yesterday was Amazon Prime Day. If you went on their website for 5 seconds and didn't buy something, but you clicked on a product, and then you went anywhere else on the internet, you saw that product or Amazon's ads all over the place. That is remarketing. They are, in my mind, the masters of remarketing, and they're very good at it. So you can do remarketing on YouTube. So they click on your website, and then they're all of a sudden they're on YouTube watching a video, and before that video, they see your video. You can do it on the search network. So they click on your website and then search for something, and they see your ad up top, or on the display network. So on those other blogs or websites all around the internet. Now, it is a really good way to bring people back. But one thing you should keep in mind is the user has already been to your site and bounced. They left without taking action. So when you show these users the same product, the same company, you need to make sure you're changing your message, offering them a coupon, offering them a discount or something. So you can say, hey, let's say the image ad, let's say you are, let's take a housing company again. So let's say user comes, you're trying to get people to come to your site and post a property. So user comes to your site, posts a property, everything goes well. Well, you don't want to remarket to them. You want to remarket to the person that comes to your site, maybe starts posting and then doesn't finish posting at all. So you might want to make a remarketing campaign targeting people that get to, X posting page, but don't get to Y thank you page or confirmation page. And in the message, you want to say something that relates to the funnel that they were in. So maybe the message says, don't forget to finish filling out the form. You're 4 steps away from posting your property. Or if they didn't even start, maybe you want to say something like, hey, 5% off if you start and post your property today. So really tailor your messaging based on who your audience is, where they're in the funnel. And if you have to include a coupon or image, a different image or a discount, I would recommend it. So with your marketing campaigns, I mentioned this before, because it's a display campaign, generally you can make gender, age, and parental status bit adjustments. Now, you also want to use multiple custom combinations. So we see a lot of times customers come to us and they're just remarketing everyone that hits their website. You don't want to do that. You want to make your own audiences. So you want to target people that hit your website and don't convert. Show them a specific ad. Maybe you want to hit people that hit the website, do a couple of things, take a little bit of action, but don't convert. You show them a different ad. And then maybe you want to target people that come to your website, convert, and now you want to upsell them. So you really want to create different combinations of remarketing lists, and you can do this in the shared library on the left-hand side of Adwords. I mentioned this before as well, but create your own image ads. You don't have to be the best designer ever to make these work. However, I've seen a lot of people use the Google Image Ad Builder, and it just doesn't really work out super well. For $5, you can outsource a couple of image ads, or if you have a designer on the team, maybe they can help with that as well. Now, lastly, I want to talk about view-through conversions. So Google has a metric called view-through conversions, and what view-through conversions are, it's when someone sees your ad, doesn't click on it, but they end up actually converting. So what Google reports that as a view-through conversion. So it's saying, listen, they didn't click on the ad and then convert, because that would just be a regular conversion. But they did see your ad, and maybe they went to your website afterwards, or it reminded them, oh, yeah, I forgot about that service, didn't click on it and just typed your URL into the browser. Well, that would be a view-through conversion. Take those with a grain of salt. They are something interesting to look at, and sometimes can be a powerful metric to optimize for. But a lot of times we find that these numbers are pretty inflated. And just something to look at. So make sure you add that column in. It's just another data point moving forward. So first, I want to specifically talk about display remarketing. This is a really great image on how display remarketing works. Prospect comes to your site, you drop a cookie on them to track them, they leave your site, go somewhere else, and then you show the remarketing ad, just like I said before. Your ad can't run until you have 100 users cookied, so you can't remarket to 2 people. Reasons for that is obviously security and privacy and that type of stuff. Now, when you run remarketing campaigns, you generally want to bid higher than normal, because these people are more likely to convert. They've already been to your site, they know who you are, and you want to be aggressive with them. So always bid a little bit higher than you expect. You can always bring it down, but definitely bid a little bit higher than you expect. I already said use a variation of image and text ads, and use different messaging. Again, they've already been to your site. They weren't interested for some reason before. So make sure you change up the messaging, the landing page, the image, something. Don't just bring them back to the same site that they didn't convert on. So there's also remarketing list for search. So whereas this slide talked about remarketing on display with image ads and text ads on different websites all around the internet, remarketing list for search talks about remarketing actually in Google's search. So the way it works, it's text ads on Google search rather than mostly image ads on the display network. And you want to target users who have a little bit more intent to purchase and send them a different message. So let me give you an example of how or who would do something like this. So let's say I am a cruise. I sell cruise packages to all over the world. So I'm running a bunch of campaigns for display campaigns, top of the funnel campaigns, people searching for vacations and getaways. They're coming to my site, but 50% of them aren't converting. I'll put that 50% in a list and use keywords for, okay, I want to target these 50% people that didn't convert, that were on my website, that now type in, and then you want to put in more intent keywords. So like buy cruise package or cruise to the Bahamas, something that's a little bit more concrete further down the funnel. Now this person has been to your site, knows who you are, and now are searching one of the words that should be really high converting for you, but are usually a little bit more expensive, which is why you weren't bidding on them in the first place. Well, because they've already been to your site and now they're typing this in, that's when your remarketing list for search is great, because you're willing to spend a little bit more per click because you have the advantage over the competitors. They've already been to your site. We use remarketing list for search. Some people call it RLSA a lot. Would highly recommend it, especially if your search keywords are too expensive. We have that problem as well on the Adhawk team. So the last type of remarketing I want to talk about is dynamic remarketing. I mentioned the Amazon example before, but dynamic remarketing is specifically for e-commerce clients. And it's when you click on a specific product, don't convert, and then see that specific product all around the internet. Whereas remarketing and search remarketing are static images that you kind of pick and have a message. Dynamic remarketing is based off of the product that the user specifically clicked on. When you're running these though, if you're going to run dynamic remarketing, please make sure your products are going to be in stock for at least 30 days. These ads can be shown to users for 30 days after they actually clicked on it. You don't want them to click on your dynamic remarketing, come to your website, and then can't actually buy that product. So make sure if you're going to use this, you have an e-commerce, you have a Google Shopping campaign, you have a merchant center, and your products generally don't run out of stock that quickly. So lastly, I want to talk about how to seal the deal. Again, if you guys have any questions about what we're going through here, please feel free to chat them in. I'll try to get to them all at the end. Now, I want to talk about seal the deal, but I didn't forget about one of Google's newer features that they just launched. I think you're asking about shopping showcase ads. So for those of you that don't know what shopping showcase ads are, generally when you're using Google Shopping, the search terms have to be pretty specific. So if someone types in, blue polo shirt, shopping ads come up. However, if they just type in, shirts for women, a lot of times there's no shopping ads because it's so general. There's so many companies that show that sell women's shirts that Google just doesn't show shopping ads. So what Google launched recently was shopping showcase ads, where if someone types in a general search term that really there should be Google shopping ads, but there just aren't because it's not specific enough, they launched this new ad type that'll allow a business to show 4 or 5 different products in an ad so that the user can generally see what types of women's shirts they have and see all the different, basically allow the business to showcase the general women's shirts they have rather than just showing a single product like regular Google Shopping. And then that allows the user to get a better idea of generally what type of store you are, click on your ad, and then take you to basically a Google-made page of all of your products. It is brand new. Would be glad to answer more questions about it. So lastly, want to talk about sealing the deal. Seal the deal, right? You've already told the user who you are, made them aware of you. Some of them converted. Then the rest that haven't converted, you've kind of captured with remarketing. Now there's still some left that haven't converted, and that's when I like to use search ads. If you have a really big budget, search ads are great, but generally they're more expensive. So as a startup, you do have to get a little creative, which is why we bring search ads to the bottom of the funnel, seal the deal. So the way search ads work, they're exactly what you think is Google search, right? The ads right inside of Google search results. Note there's no more ads on the right-hand side of the page anymore. There's only ads on top and on bottom. Generally, there are 8 ads on the first page, and average positions go from 1, which is on top, to 8, which is on bottom. So when you're increasing or decreasing your bids, you're trying to move your ads either closer to number 1 or closer to number 8. One thing to keep in mind is 1 to 8 is the positions for desktops. However, mobile devices generally only show 2 to 3 ads. So if you're positioned 4, 5, 6 on mobile devices, I would suggest either increasing your bids, or if it's too expensive, just getting rid of your bids completely. Now, like I said, the ads show on Google Search Network, but it can also show on Google Search Partners. Google Search Partners are basically people that Google licenses their search results out to. So that's something that may interest you. We generally show our ads on Google Search and Search Partners to start and see if we can get cheaper clicks on Search Partners. But anything that you do on Google, you have to be tracking, you have to be testing, you have to be making sure you are running good experiments. So maybe start with Search Partners and then see if you're getting better performance one way or another. Now, these again have highest conversion rates, but they are most expensive and they are competitive. So, let's figure out what your cost per clicks are and if it's worth it. But generally, running a couple search campaigns to seal the deal is best practice. So the first thing I want to talk about is quality score. Your keywords are given a quality score, and the quality score is anywhere from 1 to 10. 7 being generally pretty good, 8 to 10 is excellent. Anything below 6, I would probably look at quality score and figure out, how you can improve it. So how quality score is calculated is Google looks at your keyword, your expected click-through rate, so the percentage of when people see to actually clicking, the relevance that your ad has to the keyword, and the relevance that your landing page has to the keyword you're bidding on. Reason for that is if I'm bidding on one of my competitors' search terms, or I'm bidding on shoes and I'm sending people to our digital advertising platform, well, I should have to pay more per click because it's not relevant, and I'm just trying to collect as much traffic as possible. So quality score is kind of a black box. Google doesn't really tell you how to get from a 6 to a 7 to 8. But all I can tell you is if you have a keyword, make sure that keyword is in the ad text. It's on your landing page a bunch. And that's really the best that you can do. A lot of times it is out of your control. However, you'd want to do the best of your ability to get your quality score as high as possible so that your clicks can be cheap. Now, another thing that you want to look at as much as possible, and something we've trained our system to look at 24/7, is the search terms report and the auction insights report. So the search terms report is going to show you what people are typing into Google to find your ad. So you may put in keywords, but you may put in broad match or broad match modified keywords. That means that the user can type in a whole bunch of synonyms to actually click on your ad. So if you want to see actually what they're typing in, like 100% what they typed into Google, you can look at the search terms report, go through it, and you can eliminate things. So I don't want to show up for that term. I don't want to show up for that term. You could also look at the auction insights report, which shows you what other websites are bidding on these terms. So it's a good way to understand what your competitors are doing, and then also what your users are actually searching. Next, start with higher bids. This goes with quality score because you have an expected click-through rate as part of your quality score. Start with higher bids. That'll give you a much higher click-through rate. And then once you get that good quality score, you can decrease your bids. So start with higher bids to show your ads closer to position number 1, which generally means higher click-through rates, which will give you a higher quality score, which will hopefully lower your costs. And then lastly, you want to add ad extensions. Ad extensions are totally free. They're now part of quality score and very recently, and they make your ad bigger. There's no reason not to add as many extensions as possible. So I'm going to go into search terms report and ad extensions a little bit here. So search terms report, again, is what people are typing into Google to see your ad. Now, there's a whole bunch of ways you can, add keywords to your campaign. And here they are. So you can do broad match modified, phrase, or exact match. So let me show you how these different keywords match types vary and why the search term report is important. So if you're using broad match keywords and just putting words like bike shop, just all the words that have to do with your business, you can match to a lot of things. You can match to misspellings, synonyms, related searches. So you can match to maybe something like cycle store. That'll be in your search terms report. But what also could be in your search term report is images at bike shops, or cycle store burns down, or bike shop jobs and careers, or really any variation that you can possibly think of that is somewhat similar to bike shop, you will match to. So you want to use the search term report to find what you match to and to eliminate that stuff. Now, the further you go down here into more relevant and specific match types, the less variance you get in the matches and the less variance you get in the search terms report. So if you do + bike and + shop, that's a broad match modifier. That means the word bike and shop both have to be in the search. So the word bike has to be there. The word shop has to be there, but any words can come before or after or in between. We generally only use broad match modifier. It's really one of probably the best match type to use, at least in my opinion. So I would suggest starting there and then figuring out, do you want to get more specific or a little bit less specific? So next thing is phrase match. So phrase match is done with quotes. So if you put quotes around bike shop, that means that the words bike shop have to be in the search term, but they have to be right next to each other, exactly like this. So you can't have bike good shop or bike and car shop. You won't show up if you're doing phrase match. However, if you're doing broad match modified, these can be in any order. So these are very similar. This just matters about the order. This doesn't care about the order. Then lastly, there's exact match. This will only show your ad if it specifically 100% matches this. If it says bike good shop or the best bike shop, you won't show up. So exact match is really hard to really nail down. If you know specifically that you only want to show up if they're typing it in exactly like this, then sure, use exact match. It'll account sometimes for misspellings and plurals, but will not include synonyms or other words in there. So generally, I stay away from exact match until I'm 100% sure of what people are actually searching. So lastly, I want to talk about these extensions that I mentioned before. The extensions are included in Quality Score. They make your ad bigger and are 100% free. So there is no reason not to add all of the extensions that at least make sense for your business. And I'm going to go through them really quickly now. So the first thing is call extensions. It's the only way to display your phone number on your ads. On mobile, it looks like a click to call button. On desktop, what's really nice is it displays your phone number in plain text. And what's nice about that is the user can just call that phone number without clicking on the ad, and you get that click, quote unquote, for free because they never clicked on the ad, but they saw your phone number. So call extensions are great if you want phone calls. Make sure you're using ad scheduling and day parting. You don't want your phone number to show up at 1 a.m. if you don't want phone calls at 1 a.m. So keep in mind scheduling when it comes to call extensions. Google also offers a free forwarding number that allows you to track the number of phone calls you're getting from your ads, which keywords generated the phone calls, what area code they're calling from, and how long the code lasted. It's definitely something I would use. Google used to charge for the forwarding number, and now it is totally free. The next thing that you want to be using are site link extensions and structured snippet extensions. So site link extensions are the 4 or 5 hyperlinks underneath the ad. I'm sure you've seen them before. You want to put things in there that are a little bit different than your ad text. So, let's say your ad says, Adhawk, a digital advertising platform. We make digital advertising easy by using data science and machine learning. Then your site links might want to say about us, contact us, case studies, and why we're different. And this will take you to pages that talk about something different than just the general text ad. So it allows you to have different links to different pages on your site that may be interested to your user, but also make your ad bigger. You can see this ad is much bigger. Now the next thing is structured snippet extensions. This allows you to put more information about your products. So for example, you can show users a list of brands, styles, types, services, and courses that you offer. So if you offer, a bunch of different services, you might want to do a structured snippet extension to tell them all the services you offer, or maybe all the brands that you offer, or all the, styles of shoes that you offer. You can always find a way to use this, and I would highly recommend doing so. So next are location extensions and call out extensions. Location extensions are good if you have a brick and mortar store and want people inside of your business. It connects to your Google Places account and will show your address right underneath your ad. It'll be clickable so they can open up Google Maps and get right there. Now, one thing to note is getting these set up are a little bit painful if you don't already have a Google My Business account. You need to have a verified Google My Business account in order to do this. If you have questions on that, I'd be glad to do another webinar on Google My Business, and we can talk about that offline. Or if someone has a question about it, feel free to throw that in the chat. Now, call out extensions are an extra line of text in your ads that provide more detail about your business. So you can use free shipping, 24/7 customer service, price matching. You could pick whatever you want. These aren't clickable like site links are. However, they do make the ad bigger and allow you to say, small tidbits of things that make you different. So maybe 100 years in business, or over 5,000 customers, or, something like that that makes you a little bit different. So that's what call out extensions do. So lastly, I want to talk about Google Shopping. I know I mentioned it a couple of times, but Google Shopping ads appear when a user searches specifically for a product, and that product shows as an image right inside of Google search. You can really think of it like window shopping. You can show the customers when they're typing in, women's black sweatshirt, specifically what sweatshirt you have to offer and the price that comes with it. So the users aren't surprised when they click on your ad to see, oh, I didn't know they were this expensive, or I didn't know this is what they look like. This is really like the best way to drive conversions for e-commerce businesses. These ads are shown in Google. They're shown in Google search. They're shown in the shopping tab up top, and they recently are now showing in the image tab up top of Google. So it can be shown in 3 different places. It is really a powerful tool for e-commerce companies. Now, you don't add keywords to these campaigns. Google automatically takes your keywords based on your Google Merchant Center account, which is basically a product feed of all of your products. It looks at the title of your product and the first 70 characters of your product, and then uses that as keywords. So it's actually not that much maintenance, Google Shopping, but it is a little hard to get it set up. But once you have it set up, it's not as much maintenance. So some final things to remember. AdWords is an iterative process. It takes time. You aren't just going to flip a switch and all of a sudden be selling thousands and thousands of products. You need to try different strategies. You need to test different things. And then when you find things that are working, double down. When you don't find things that are working, pivot and make sure you set it. If you feel like you set it up correctly, pivot and cross it off the list. Another thing to note is don't set your budget too thin. Don't have a $1,000 budget and have 10 different campaigns. It's just the budget is too small per each campaign. Start with less campaigns and a higher budget and expand from there. You can always get AdWords support from Google if you call them at 1-866-2-Google. They're open Monday to Friday, 9 to 8 Eastern. Make sure you have your customer ID handy. They ask you for that to identify your account. That can be found in the upper right-hand corner of your screen. You can always, give them a call. But to be honest, if you have questions, you can tweet at Adhawk, ADHAWK, and we try to answer questions as well. So if it's after hours, feel free to tweet at us. If you want an answer from Google, just give them a call as well. Okay. Also keep in mind conversions can take 48 hours to calibrate. You may be looking at your account, refreshing it every single couple of minutes. Google, we find a lot of times our conversions don't show up in the dashboard till the next day. So don't be discouraged if you see no conversions. Check it tomorrow or the next day and then look at the previous days of data. You may have actually gotten some. Google just takes a little bit to calibrate it. And you always want to be looking at 30-day moving averages. There's so many things that can happen in one day. It's raining, or you get a bunch of people that really weren't interested in your service that clicked on your ads. There's so many different things that can happen on a day-to-day basis. You should be looking at 30-day windows and how are the ads performing on a 30-day moving average rather than, oh, today I didn't get any conversions, it's not working. You know, it's an iterative process, and you want to look at the averages because that's really all that matters. And lastly, your campaign should work together. You want to look at the account performance as a whole, not just that campaign's not working or this campaign is working. There are top of the funnel campaigns like the display and Gmail ads campaigns. They are meant to drive awareness and traffic. You're not going to see conversions, but if you pause those campaigns, that may affect your search campaigns or your branded campaigns or your shopping campaigns. So they all work together. So just know that they're not standalone. You're a business, you're a brand, and you want to make sure they're all working together. So lastly, here are some resources. We have an AdWords ebook that if you're interested in, Bobby can post in the channel in here. We have some advertising tutorial videos on our channel. Also a couple of e-commerce things and a glossary. You can feel free to kind of go through this. We'll share the deck and we'll post this on our blog. Again, if you want to get to our website, it's tryadhawk.com, TRYADHAWK.com. And you can click on the blog to see, you know, all of these different resources. But I appreciate you guys sticking around, and we'll try to do another one of these in a couple of weeks. And good luck. If you have questions, feel free to tweet at us, email us, or, you know, sign up for our wait list. All right, take it easy, everyone.